But you do such a good job.
For the town of Mulhall will meet in special session on Friday, February 27th, 2026 at 6 p.m. at the town hall.
And
Here.
Chris, Michelle.
Here. Ordinance number 2026-1, an ordinance of the town of Mulhall, Oklahoma, prohibiting short-term rentals, providing findings, definitions, enforcement, penalties, and related matters, repeal or savings, severability, codification, penalty, effective date, and declaring an emergency. So, ordinance 2026-1 is prohibiting short-term rentals. I already read all that, but anyway. So, basically, because I don't really like to sit and read to people, it's prohibits short-term rentals in the residential zones. The commercial zone, anything zoned commercial, you can still have short-term rentals, but it prevents it from being in residential areas. And our reason being is because we have limited housing in this town as it is, and we want it to be for permanent residents, because there's just issues when companies or whoever comes in and buys up properties, and that's just what they're used for, is short-term rentals, and then you don't have housing for people who want to live here, send their kids to school here or whatever. So that's what we're trying to avoid. So one of the things that we have on here is limited amortization period, or any short-term rental lawfully operating on the effective date of this article shall terminate such use no later than, and we can put in how many months from the effective date. So do you have a number there?
I mean, I don't know, but I'm assuming that Donna probably has bookings already for graduation and stuff like that. So I would say no earlier than the end of May.
So that's what, about 90 days or 3 months?
Yeah.
Let's take February, so March, April, May.
If
So
you
it'll
have
take us
other
3
thoughts,
May.
that's fine.
You know, they fixed that house up so that they could live in it. And they planned, Donna can work from anywhere, she can work remotely, and her husband works for a school system. Their plan was to move here this summer. She's so distraught over all this, she don't even know she must have moved to this town anymore. And I hate that. I hate that that's somebody's impression of Mulhall.
I mean, I hope that everyone would understand why it's important for us to protect the little bit of housing that we do have, because if we don't have places for families to live, our school doesn't stay open. And without the school, we don't have a
Most of the school
town.
kids do not live in the town of
We have
Mulhall.
more town kids than you might realize.
Okay, Orlando, does it go here?
Doesn't matter about Orlando, I'm talking about here. And if
The
you wanna,
kids, the kids that go to this school do not live in Orlando.
if you wanna look at the walkers that
Outlying.
leave that school every day, there's a lot more children in this town now than you realize. And we just had another family move in, just a few months ago, next to Marcia and John, that have kids, and that's why they're here.
So the schools will shut down if this happens, is that correct?
If we don't have places for families to live,
Okay.
And like, still in the commercial zones, you can have a B&B or, or short-term rental, just not in residential zones. And Orlando, yes, it's Mulhall, Orlando, so the Orlando town kids come here too. But we have Mulhall town kids and Orlando town kids and, the rural area kids.
and we're also
So-
not equipped to handle, we don't have the law enforcement, we don't have emergency care. And any community that you've seen that has let this go, most of them regret it.
And most of them have started putting in ordinances limiting them. I mean, the planning commission really did do their research on this. And that's what they found when they started looking at, is this, you know, a good idea? Should we put some limitations on this? And what they found was bigger cities, who clearly have more housing prospects than Mulhall, but bigger cities have this issue now where they have a lot of short-term rental houses and they don't have permanent, people can't buy permanent residence. So,
Well, a lot of people don't want to sell their homes. And being one who rented myself, it seemed like every time I rented my home, you know, rather than selling it or doing it as an Airbnb, every time I went in, I ended up spending all my savings. And people don't pay their rent good, they tear it up. You know, you don't know what kind of people you get in there. I used to get references that said they were good on their rent, and then later I'd find out, oh, we told you they were good renters so we could get rid of them. So, you know, and I know Guthrie is doing Airbnbs, and they're doing good. I just wanted to know, do the Airbnbs, if you go through Verbo, they're vetted, and people have not had any problems with having to call a sheriff or anything like that, and they actually take better care of the places, I've been told. I mean, I've even stayed at some Airbnbs, and they're wonderful. I'd rather stay at those than a motel. And I don't know, I just think it's a shame. Whenever they rent them, do the towns get taxes or some money from the rentals?
I don't know. We don't
Sam
have.
could.
The
Sam's
town
on the
would have to
planning.
set up a type of licensing infrastructure for it, or that would be more paperwork for Debbie, is something that I've seen, but they would have to, where you would have to comply with the state on the proper electrical, proper coding, because all of they're in Guthrie, they're doing it, because there's 4 Airbnbs right down the road from my mom, and they have issues, just saying, because I've seen it firsthand. But I have talked to some people at the town. You know, Guthrie sets their own rules, just like Stillwater, just like any other town for short-term rentals. And they would have to have proper state code, have to be ADA compliant. There's all of these things. The town of Mulhall would have to enforce that and make sure that the owners have that, where they would have to buy licensing every year to have a permit to run an Airbnb. Right now, it's a lot that we would have to take into consideration. It's more than just protecting what housing we have. There's just a lot that goes into it. And I will help anybody, I'll give anybody any research that I've done. I will give people names of people I've talked to. I'm not against this for any other reason, just for what it is we're so small.
Well, I just don't really know, in my opinion, I don't really know of anybody who's wanting to open an Airbnb here.
We've had property companies inquire about every house that's come up for sale.
And this has come up in conversations with me years ago, and people were like upset about it because they were afraid that the town was gonna just let this happen. And I'm like, guys, you know, calm down, nobody's talking about it. But then I found out there have been a lot of people that have been talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
What exactly did you mean, Michelle, when my niece Donna was here, when we first were talking about this, and she was voicing, you know, what she's here for and her intentions, and you told her that it did not apply to her. What did you mean by that?
Well, I don't remember all of that conversation. I don't know what I said that would say that it wouldn't apply to her, but I never said that this wouldn't apply to her, this particular ordinance.
Oh, I know what it was. Because when Donna presented it, she told us that it was gonna be for family and friends that wanted to come into town, things like that. She never mentioned about having a publicly listed Verbo listing in town. So that's when she said it wouldn't apply.
So as
So,
long as it's family and friends, it's okay?
I mean, then it's your house. We can't control who you let stay in your house, but that's a lot different than the whole world knowing there's rental houses in Mulhall for the weekend.
If my family and friends are coming to stay in my house, I'm not charging them. So
Right.
anyway, it's not family, if you're just letting your family and friends stay in your house, that's one thing, but when you're renting it, and that would have been why I said, well, it wouldn't apply to you if
Right.
it's just for your family and friends, but when it's a, listed property and you have people coming in and out, then this would apply to you. So if she had said that, I would have said, well, that would apply to what you're trying to do, but she said it's for family and friends.
I
And
don't
I
think
said,
it
well,
was
then
ever
this won't apply
exclusively
to
for
you.
that, I don't think she presented it
But that's
that
all
way.
she presented.
I don't think,
I have the audio
Yeah,
recording of
okay.
that, so, and it should be on YouTube, it really should be.
okay.
It is.
I don't think she ever said it's exclusively for family and friends, because they ran a bed and breakfast in Muskogee, did very highly
And I wish she
successful.
had brought that up.
And they vet everybody that ever comes in there, and has there been any trouble since last year? And anybody that's been there, has there been any trouble?
Well, the point is, we're not trying to, yes, we don't want trouble in town, but that's not the point. The point is, we don't want anybody, companies, property management companies, or, I think we have 3 houses for sale right now, at least. And if a property management company came in and said, I'm gonna buy all 3 of these houses, and this is what we're gonna do, then that's 3 houses that somebody can't buy to live here permanently.
And the
So-
town doesn't have any kind of licensing right now to even do that. So it's basically the Wild West free-for-all.
So we don't want to get into a situation where, houses are just, you don't know who your neighbor is. We've run out of housing if somebody's looking for, a place to move into our school district or, whatever. We don't want to get into a situation where we have more property management owners than we do citizens.
Well, can you
So
not
we have to
have it?
do something.
If people
Can't-
don't have children and want to move to town, is there anything against that? Will there ever be anything against that if they don't have children?
That's the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, we're gonna put in an ordinance that said if you have kids, you can't move to town.
Well, they don't have kids, so they're
That's
not going to be bringing
ridiculous.
anybody to town.
The point is, we're trying to
You can't
eliminate,
exempt people that are
companies
already
from
doing
buying
this
up
before you looked
houses.
into it. You cannot exempt anybody from doing this before you actually decided to do this.
Because we were discussing
You didn't have
this,
anything in writing, you didn't have any ordinance, you didn't have anything.
not any ordinance,
So
but it was
anything-
it was on an agenda 2 months or the month before she ever showed up here
Wait a minute.
with us
Well, she already bought
discussing.
the house though. She'd already bought the house and her intentions were made known to
No.
your dad almost
Her
every
intentions
day.
were not made known to any of us. I wish she had come to an
I don't
earlier
think she
meeting.
felt like she had to come check it out with City Hall before she fixed her house up.
But most Airbnbs do.
Yes.
Don't they? They always check with the towns, because you have to check with Guthrie. You can't just open up an Airbnb, and that's the same way in Stillwater. They have their own ordinances for it. So you would actually petition the town or go talk to somebody.
so,
Well, I have a question. Can you not do an ordinance against Airbnbs when it comes to these big property management companies?
no, we couldn't exclude a certain group from buying. It has to be across the board. We can't just say, well, you're a property management company, you can't buy an Airbnb, or you can't buy a house for an Airbnb, but if you're a single person, go ahead. We can't do that.
Well, I don't know why not.
It's illegal.
I'll
It
tell
is,
you one
it's
thing,
literally
my
singling
granddaughter,
out.
My son have 2 Airbnbs in Tulsa. You have to talk to everybody in the neighborhood. There's licenses, you have to have all this stuff that you go through. It's not just, okay, I'm gonna buy a house and fix it up and you can come rent it for the weekend.
Well,
There's a lot of stipulations go with it. And I don't live in town, but I live in this Mulhall area. And if they wanna come here and move and live in that house, I'd be excited. And you said they're coming to live here this summer?
That's their
What's the deal
intention.
then?
Both of their parents graduated from.
Well, I know, I understand all that, so if they're coming to live here this summer, what's the deal?
I don't
3
know.
months till summer, they can come move in their house and Be happy.
I just came to find out so she didn't have to buy a ticket from Tucson to be here tonight.
Okay, so I think that if we do the effective date, 3 months from today, that gets us through Memorial Day weekend. So, if you're good with 3 months, then
So what date is that? I mean, is that,
well, from February 27th, it would be May. No, let's see.
Does it ask for months?
It
or-
says months. It says, so any short-term rental lawfully operating on the effective date of this article shall terminate such use no later than 3 months from the effective date. So 3 months would be May 27th.
Are graduations over by then? All
Yeah.
of them?
They're usually the middle of May.
Can you make it an even, like, June 1st?
Well, it's, the way it's worded, it says months.
Okay.
So, it gets through Memorial Day. So, because Memorial Day's the 25th.
25th,
So, anyway, it gets us to May 27th, which is through Memorial Day weekend. I don't think this is the official one, you'll have to.
What date would be the
Yeah, if
effective
it
date
said-
tonight? or-
Yeah.
if it says the new one from Bryce?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it, that's it.
okay. So I can just put 3 months here.
Yeah.
All right. So, I make a motion, we adopt ordinance number 2026-1.
Second.
Okay, and a second. Tanya,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
and Chris.
Next, we have adjournment, so I make a motion, we adjourn.
Pat?
Oh, sorry.
Can we get a copy
6:17.
of that ordinance? Is that possible?
6:17.
Sorry.
Or,
Yeah, 6:17.
second.
Tanya,
You
Yes.
guys want the copy?
Chris, absent. Michelle?
Yes. Okay. That's what I need to sign. Should run on.
When will the ordinance be where a person could get a copy of it?
We're gonna do it now.
Debbie's, you have to do the filings and all that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I left.
That will be.
she could give you a copy,
It'll be packed.
that,
Celebration,
an unsigned copy. Did you have it on the computer? So you just
Uh-huh.
print it out.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a copy of it, please.
She'll get you a copy off the computer.
Okay.